again. I'm back, and originally this was supposed to end up being a record video, but I ended up doing some chores around the house. I mowed and all of that bullshit, because of all of that, I have a little bit less time than I did earlier, so I'm not going to do a record video because those are a lot more time consuming. Instead, I'm going to make another one of these videos where I show you some of the cool shit around the house, because we've gotten a lot over the last 5 months or however long it's been since the last time I did one of these. And the last one had pretty much only good reception, so you know, I figured I may as well get something made as opposed to nothing. Originally, I thought maybe I wanted to wait like a year before doing another one of these, but I mean, we've gotten enough new shit now to warrant another one of these, and you'll see why. But I mean, this has become a really frequent thing, where we're getting new cool shit to display in the house. But we've also been getting stuff as part of sort of side hustle of like antique dealers. Weird, odd, antique type stuff. We're waiting on a phone call now to get into an antique mall, but we already have a load of stuff for that. Some of it is not like in storage downstairs, so I'll show you some of what's out. But I'm really excited about this because, like I said, lots of cool shit to talk about. So, I am going to get you off of this tripod and we'll get going. Yeah. Oh fuck. In what can only be described as a display of shocking and deepening mental instability, I bought a Zoltar machine. Which is honestly probably the most absurd thing we have in the entire house. But I love this guy. So we've given him a bunch of cool stuff in here. Tarot cards, a Dracula comic book. We have one of our human skulls in here. He's got some cocaine and some nudies. Actually, normally he's got a rolled up dollar bill in his hand, and right now it's in there. We changed out the lights in the back, so now they're these like flicker bulbs, and we disconnected that white fluorescent light and put the strip lighting that I can control the colors for and everything behind him. But I will show you him working, because that's what you're here for. I got the dollar bill out. Let's see what Zoltar has to say.
Welcome to the world of Zoltar, where small fees are magically turned into big insights. I illuminate the darkest mysteries of the future and assist all those who ask. But I am not doing this for my health, so cough up the cash.
Yeah! I wanted to show you that his eyes and everything do work. This is like a deluxe model of Zoltar. We went on a trip back in April, I think, and we saw a handful of these guys at like big truck stops in the desert. And we both talked about how we wanted one. And when we got back home, like 2 weeks later, one popped up on Facebook Marketplace, like 2 miles from the house. And as expensive as he was, he's absolutely worth it. He fits perfectly in this little spot, and it's absurd, which is the point. On top here, I've got a Humpty Dumpty holding a funeral flag. And a doll head there. Lovely. Here is one of my new favorites for sure. This is a chestnut toucan. Absolutely gorgeous. I've wanted a toucan, like a taxidermy toucan, for years. And I got this guy on, it was actually like a live stream that a shop called Rest in Pieces out of Richmond, Virginia did. He really is like one of the more gorgeous pieces of taxidermy that we have here. This is like museum quality. He's beautiful. As you can see, we still have the same bookcase that I said was about to go last time I made one of these videos. I've been very picky about the type of bookcase that I want, so this is still here. There's a couple things in here I do want to show you, but first I wanted to point out this big in memoriam sign up here. The blue is actually glass. According to what the girl I got it from said, it was above a door for some kind of display for like dead veterans or whatever. So I don't know, I got it. I like that thing. One of the newer pieces that you'll notice in here is this guy here, which actually, you know what? I'm gonna put you back on the tripod and we're gonna get him out. So, I do love this guy. This is the head of what would have been like a ventriloquist dummy. This guy's kind of a mystery. I don't exactly know, I don't know the builder. I don't know the year, though, based on the like hardware and stuff inside of his head, this is probably about 80 years old. Maybe a little younger than that. But his eyes do work, and so too does his mouth. But yeah, this guy is terrifying, but in kind of a very friendly looking way. It's hard to describe. Like, he looks very human. It almost looks like there's like awareness in those eyes, doesn't there? He's really, really creepy, unintentionally, because he's just unfinished, very unfinished. And I do have the back of his head, but it doesn't stay on there by itself. But you can see he has holes for moving eyebrows, and his ears do move, but I don't really know how to make that happen without moving some hardware around, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be getting you on and off this tripod a handful of times. I just know it. One of the other things that I wanted to show you in here is this. This is the first death mask that we got into the collection. So you can call it a death mask, you can call it a medical moulage. And they would do these for a couple of different reasons. Usually, as far as I can tell, it's with the wax ones especially, it was almost always medical. And, you know, I mean, it was literally, they would just take a cast of a dead person's face and they would use them in classrooms, oftentimes to sort of humanize specific diseases or illnesses or, you know, that kind of stuff. Because back in, you know, the late 1800s when this was made, you didn't have like 3D models. So they would take casts of people's faces who died of specific diseases and use them to teach in classrooms. I don't know the exact story behind this one. However, you might be able to tell that the dead person's real eyebrow hair was used for this specific one. But yeah, man, these things are super creepy. I've got one I like even more downstairs, which you'll see in just a bit. But I love this thing. This is an old anatomical pull-down chart. You can kind of see it's one of those that would be in like a classroom. This has male and female reproductive systems. It's actually over 100 years old. I can't remember the year on this one. 1922. So we literally didn't have a space to display the entire thing because it's over 6 feet tall. So we're just kind of displaying it in part here. But it's very, very nice. Really cool. It's in pretty good condition for being as old as it is. And I wish I could show you the entire thing, but I cannot. You remember the skeleton. You probably remember this robe. We don't have a skull on it anymore. But I just got a couple of these. These are wooden spears that were used in Oddfellows lodges, which is cool. Actually, the other one that I have was specified as Oddfellows. This is, I think it was specified as just like Fraternal Lodge, so could be the Oddfellows, could be like the Freemasons or something, but this holds the spear now. We have kind of filled up this wall with more stuff now, but mostly it's like, you know, memorial photos, funeral photos, stuff like that. I got a couple more over here now. This one right here is pretty nice. So this person's name was Dolores Small, I think it was. And she died in a bicycle accident at 12 years old. I thought she looked a little bit older than 12, but you can actually see her name in the coffin plaque there, and you can find when and where she died and stuff. Very sad. One thing I do love, actually a couple things here I'll show you. This is really cool. This just came in last week. I thought this guy was lost because it was, you know, it was almost a month before I got it. It's interesting to see these old photos, especially like, you know, it's a fatal car accident, an old car. I like that you can see a person sort of looking on in the distance there. But even cooler, on the back, there's writing. It says where Maggie Carpenter was killed. This is an RPPC, or real photo postcard. It was just one way you could have your actual real photo printed back then. So this is very, very cool. Couple other things. I like this. It's an ashtray. Butts or ashes, keep me nice and clean, won't tell what I have seen. This right here, I really like. So this is an atlas on skin diseases. This particular print of this book is 125 years old, as you can see, from 1900. And this thing is full of absolutely horrifying descriptions and colored illustrations of skin diseases. And obviously back in, you know, the year 1900, there weren't colored photographs. The best you had is these colored illustrations that were, you know, better at showing you what these conditions looked like. And what's cool about this is these were drawn after specific people, so it has like the person's initials, their age, and the symptoms of whatever it was that they were dealing with. But as you can see, really, really nice images throughout this entire thing. But yeah, man, really, truly horrible shit. Here's something really cool. So last time I showed you a piece of Victorian hair art, and we have a few more of those now. This one is really cool. It's different than the other ones we have. This is a palette work, which means that, you know, the hair is sort of glued down flat on like a 2D surface instead of a 3D wreath. This is like how it was done in France. So this is very old, and it's really, really, like, exceptionally beautiful. I love this shit. I will show you this guy down here. This is one of the nicer, this is one of the nicer, like, post-mortem photographs that we own. I love when these include, like, information. So, like, when the individual has been identified, all of that kind of stuff. So this is Dorothy's baby brother, Arnold, 13 months, only picture taken of him. He had a twin brother who died at birth, 1917, died of pneumonia. There's actually more information on the back, but I notice where it says 13 months, born January 18th, 1916, died January 11th, 1917, so he wasn't even a year yet, if that's correct. It also mentions on the back that the baby's mother, Nellie, kind of adorned the coffin there with all of the things. Beautiful. Also, I think I showed last time a memorial lithograph. It was this one that's right there, but that one is not filled out. Here's one of the ones that I have now that was filled out. Memory of Martha C. Ackerman, died November 1887, 9 years, 2 months, 11 days. This is beautiful. It's really big, it's gorgeous, and what's even cooler is in the back of this, which I can't show you now because I'd have to take the whole back of the frame off. There's an old newspaper from, I think it was 1889, and one of the little articles is about the testing of Thomas Edison's first electric chair, which is obviously really cool, especially as just an addition to this already gorgeous old memorial lithograph. Moving over here, this is another like new addition. This is also fucking absurd. Like, it's huge. This thing is over 9 feet wide, 9.5 feet wide, and over 8.5 feet tall. This is an old Sideshow banner, hand painted by Dick Beck, Kissimmee, Florida. This is the anatomical wonder, obviously Melvin Burkhart. He was a magician, a sword swallower, a fire eater. They called him the man without a stomach, obviously for his ability to like suck his stomach into a sort of absurd degree. But this is so fucking cool, man. I've wanted one of these for ages. We won this at an auction and we got a damn good price on it. It's just, I don't know, I mean, so many neat little details here. Very cool. I love the alive sign. Yeah, Really, really fucking cool. Recently, we also got one of these display tables, too. I won't go through and show you everything in here. I'll just kind of give you the idea. I do love these old tin types with the baby, and it's got the baby's hair in it, and a poem. But yeah, you get the idea. This is cool here. This is an old pitch card for Rosa and Josefa. I can't remember their last name. I don't know. I think this is about 105 years old or so. But they would sell these at their like appearances. Conjoined twins. Very tragic story. A very tragic end to that tragic story. Look into it if you're curious. It's fucking sad. I mean, can I make one of these videos without showing this fucking angel? Look at this. That's the cutest shit ever. You're a good boy. Anybody's curious, because I did it last time, here is an updated sweep of the upstairs living room. Here is a nighttime sweep. We literally don't have like a real lamp for this room, so at night this really is as bright as it gets without turning on like the big overhead lighting, but that's obviously a no-no. Let's see, moving downstairs. I don't know if you guys remember, but this looks quite a bit different than the last time you saw it. We still have to replace the curtains, and there's more work to do down here, but a big improvement from last time, for sure. This wall is very much a work in progress here. We're still kind of adding to it as things come up. I love this guy, Charlie Chaplin. This old, I think it's plaster sign, toilets. We have not painted 2 of the 3 doors over here yet, but this is the bathroom here if you remember from last time, so it's a good spot for him. Here is another sort of newish addition. Actually, his light is red, so we're gonna change his light. This is Bonehilda, by the way. Yeah! I like this thing, because you can change it to like any color. Zoltar actually has the same sort of lights in his display. But this is an old viewing coffin, late 1800s, and it's got a full papier-mâché skeleton in it. This was another Oddfellows piece. You may remember me talking about the Oddfellows last time. They would do all sorts of stuff with real human skeletons or skeletons made of papier-mâché like this. Let me show you. I'll open this coffin here, and you can get an idea of the whole inside. Yeah, full skeleton. I mean, for being papier-mâché, it really is a beautiful piece of art. Absolutely gorgeous. There is at rest on the side there, but it's kind of tough to show. We got this guy in Chicago back in May, and we got pulled over while we had him in the car, and it looked even worse than that because like while we were driving, the glass here slid down and I reached back to grab it and I cut my finger, so I was bleeding, like holding a napkin in my hand, bleeding, and we get pulled over. We've got a coffin in the back, I've got a bloody hand, and the police officer literally did not say a word about the coffin. So I mean, we could have gotten away with some real shit. But yeah, it's a fun story. Moving down here, this is an old piece of stained glass that's been framed. It has hooks at the top because it was hanging when I got it. And I had a perfect spot for it, and it just ended up not working out. So for right now, it's down here. But this is another like memorial piece. John and Mary Whitsett. It's got their like the year they were born and the year they both died. We actually found their like grave sites and stuff, and we didn't find a bunch of information, but we did find that John was a furniture maker, so that's interesting. Over here we have an old 1940s Posey brand roller buckle straight jacket. This was pulled from a woman's asylum, I think in Canada. So this is one of those pieces of like dark history that's just fucked. I mean, like absolutely fucked. To take people who are struggling mentally and just restrain them and throw them into a fucking room by themselves or whatever, like, It's horrible. It's very, very sad. But I love this piece. It's really nice, heavy duty. Shelby actually put it on the day we got it, or maybe it was the day after. And it was quite a troubling experience for her. And I absolutely understand why. And if I had more hands, I would take it apart and kind of show you more. But you get the idea. Very, very cool. This is an old Oddfellows again. This is like a ceremonial helmet, which I enjoy. Moving over to the other side of the mantle here, we've got a couple pieces. We've got a small casket plaque, Our Darling, which was actually meant for this. I'll show you this in a second. And this lovely lady here, this is another wax moulage, also from the late 1800s. Also, almost certainly a medical piece. Oh my god. Please. Okay. So this is a little bit more detailed than the other one. It's also more of like an entire head than the other one. So the cheeks are colored with actual rouge. The lips are colored and asymmetrical. So the red on the cheeks is probably not for aesthetic. It's probably to show the condition that this individual would have died from. So the lips being red, again, it could just be to point out that they are asymmetrical. Just another symptom of whatever was going on. Absolutely gorgeous. I love the display for this one. Very, very nice. And right below that, we have, this is one of my favorite things in the entire collection. It's kind of a weird story. I had a dream one night. And I'm not, dream analyzing. It's bullshit, right? I know that. But I had a dream one night that I found one of these guys on Facebook Marketplace. And when I got to work, I decided to look, and I found this. Now, it wasn't close by. I had to go pick it up from the Lidl Funeral Home in Maybe, Michigan. And that is the town name, Maybe, Michigan. And I bought it from the great-grandson of the guy who opened the funeral home in 1880. And this is probably pretty close to that old. This style of coffin was, 1880s, 1890s. And it's been wrapped up and stored there for, 140-something years at most. The lining and everything was added in 1980. It was a commemorative celebration of the 100-year anniversary of the funeral home. And this thing is gorgeous. It's obviously a child coffin. It's about 3 feet tall. Or maybe it can accommodate somebody who's 3 feet tall. There's a 3 carved into either the top or the bottom. I can't remember. But this thing is absolutely gorgeous. It does have Lidl for the funeral home name, written on the back, but I don't have another hand right now. You get the idea. This thing is in nearly perfect condition, despite being as old as it is, and I don't think I could love it more if I tried. Moving over here, I'll show this because I love these. This is another old, memorial lithograph. This one is from 1842. Is that right? Yep, 1842. In memory of Caroline Myers. I mean, this thing is 180 years old. Absolutely gorgeous. It's held up really nicely over time. These are hand-colored, because back then there wasn't a real, easy way to print color. So it was all done by hand. But the inscriptions, all done in hand, except for to the memory of. That was part of the original print. But everything else was done by hand. Yeah, I love it. Caroline, thou hast left me, here thy loss I deeply feel, but 'tis God that has bereft me, he can all my sorrows heal. Gorgeous. Over from there, this is another really large memorial, mourning lithograph that I want to show. This is in memory of an Anna Eisenhout, dear wife and mother, died in 1908. Asleep in Jesus. So the reason that I wanted to show this specifically is because there's kind of a crazy story behind this. First of all, there's another newspaper behind this one. There's all sorts of crazy shit in that newspaper, including like, you know, little articles about like lynching black people and stuff. Like, it's fucked. But we kept it in there because it you know, it's history, and as fucked as it is, it's part of this overall piece, and it's something we probably ought not forget about. But what's crazy about this is this was a Facebook Marketplace thing. I changed the frame. The original frame I still have, and I might actually show you. So I drove to Clarksville, Indiana to grab this from somebody on Facebook Marketplace. And pretty recently I found another one online on eBay, and, you know, it was the same sort of style of lithograph, so I ordered it because it was a good price, and, you know, like I said, we're kind of getting into the antique dealing stuff ourselves. So I ordered it, and when it shipped from Clarksville, Indiana, which I was like, oh shit, it hit me like a fucking train. This was filled out by the same person over 120 years ago. If you look at the details in Asleep in Jesus, it is identical. The writing here is not held up as well as the other one, but what are the fucking odds? Absolutely insane. Moving on here, we used to have a Goddard Gazelle here. He is currently not up on a wall because we're actually going to be selling him. But this is another huge hair wreath, and I'm going to put this back on the tripod because I want to show you. Alright, so I showed a Victorian hair wreath last time we did one of these. This one just came in last week, and it is beautiful. This one's huge. Hopefully the light is cooperating, but you can see just how like delicate these things are and how much detail goes into this kind of stuff. This one was definitely reframed at some point. This frame is much newer than the hair wreath would be itself. But yeah, I love these things. Gorgeous. We have a couple more on the way. And I never get tired of looking at these. So yeah, if you don't remember what I said last time, all human hair. Truly incredible. Sorry, I'm in kind of an awkward position over here. I forgot to mention this guy. I just drove up to very far north Indiana, right below the border of Michigan, to pick up this. This is a wicker transport casket. This guy's probably around 100 years old, and they normally, back then, they wouldn't bury these. You know, there wasn't really like the green burial thing back then. So these were just used to pick up a body from a house and move it to the funeral home or whatever. This guy is really tall, almost 7 feet tall. And just for the hell of it, I'll show you a couple of the other things that have shown up in the past couple of weeks, since I forgot to show you the coffin over there. I mentioned that we had a couple more hair wreaths on the way. So here is one of them here. Very nice. And the other one needs a little bit of work. It's in the shape of like, I don't know if you'd call it a harp. And these strings here obviously have come loose over the many, many decades that this thing has been wherever it's been. But despite these pieces here, this is absolutely gorgeous. I think this one's going to stay with us. Luckily, fixing it will be made easier by the fact that this is on like hinges instead of having to like take the whole back apart. Because if you look at the back of this one, I mean, it's like all wood and then this weird plastic cardboard shit that I assume replaced something at some point. But very nice. Also, a few more of these old memorial lithographs. This one is from 1868. Died 23 years old. It's very, very faded. We actually just got this guy in Michigan at an antique mall. We just literally happened across it, which is very cool. This one here is a little bit different than any of them I've seen because all of the text is in Spanish. which I quite like. And just the style of lithograph, I've never seen another one of these, so that's very cool. Additionally, on the back, there is kind of like a translation and also like a chain of custody explanation. This framed burial memorial was given to Betty Duran by the Mayes family at the time of the death of their mother, Tomasita Espinoza Mayes. The father was Emilio Mayes, son of Jose Benito and Francisca Mayes, and Jose Benito is who this is for here. Very cool. And finally, here, god damn it, this is fucking huge. Last of these is gonna be this really fucking big one here. This also came from a like antique mall in Michigan. Different antique mall from the one that I showed you first. So this is obviously sort of in the style of the one in the upstairs living room, though it is a little bit different, but it's the same idea. And this one is in memory of 4 people. God damn it, I have you on a tripod, and of course the skylight is right above what I'm trying to show you here. So it's in memory of 4 separate people. The text is actually, it's all in German, but I suspect that these 4 people were siblings, and maybe this person changed their name, like their surname through marriage or something. Because it's from the age of 27 all the way down to 1, and they died within, what, like 6 years of each other? All 4 of them, so regardless, pretty tragic. So here are a couple additions here. I'm willing to bet most of you have not seen one of these before. This is a mourning, like memorial embroidery piece. So these are very, very old. These are actually probably the oldest things that we have in this collection. So if you're not familiar, when George Washington died, there were like memorial sort of embroideries made to honor George Washington. And as far as I understand, that kind of sparked interest in this becoming a more wide-scale thing. So this right here, it says, inscribed to the memory of Dr. John Paddleford, who died August 1st, 1777, or maybe that's 1779 there, age 31 years. So this is obviously done by hand. Being that this was something that kind of caught on after George Washington died, obviously this was not made in 1779. This was probably made at the very, very beginning of the 1800s. So, you know, this thing is over 2¼ centuries old. So this one's not in perfect condition, but I don't know how you could expect one to be, really. I mean, it's in pretty good condition considering the age. We got this at an auction, and in that same auction, we got this piece of mourning embroidery art. So what's weird is I actually thought I was gonna like this one more, but now having them in hand, I might actually prefer that bigger one. This one, however, is in better condition, and it is just gorgeous. It says, sacred to the remains of Harriet Cooper, who died August 1st, 1798, aged 3 months. So what's weird is it says both of these people died August 1st. When these showed up, this one here had a broken, the glass was broken. And just handling it for a moment, I got an idea of how fragile these are. So, I mean, really, truly gorgeous pieces of art. And I love it. I kind of want to show a couple of the post-mortems that we have sitting on the dining room table right now. This one here is really nice. I love how glowy it looks. Very cool. But this is one of my favorites that we've had. That mustache won't quit. I love it. The father wreath. This is just a really nice, sharp photo. This is probably in the 1920s. But it's kind of hard to nail down for sure. And the last thing I'll show is like a part of this little update here. Anybody know what these are? These are called lotus shoes. If you've ever heard of Chinese foot binding, these are the shoes that grown Chinese women would wear after having their feet fucking broken in half for barbaric beauty standards. But it's absolutely insane to think that adult feet would fit into these. I mean, I have a big hand, but you get the idea. These are really small. Very nice. They're handmade. They've got, it's actually like Chinese, it's like, looks like pages from a magazine or something rolled up in there, I guess just to keep their shape kind of out. I can take them out, and I have, and you get the idea of what it looks like inside, but these were in there, so I've kind of left them in there because it's sort of cool. They could go on just showing you shit forever. We've got some big embalming fluid bottles. We've got, these three here are all embalming fluid bottles. They're all different brands too. I've got a couple more downstairs. Also, this guy, massive paper mache baby head. I have no idea what the story is behind this. We got it at a antique mall in Medina, Ohio, outside of Cleveland. I couldn't tell you why, but I fucking love this thing. Alright, to finish this off, I'm going to show you just a couple more things in this library, and then we'll wrap it up. One of the things I wanted to mention was this guy here. This is a hand-painted portrait on canvas of a baby that includes a coffin plaque, which is very cool. This was obviously a memorial for a baby who had passed. Unfortunately, if there ever was a name written on this anywhere, it has faded to the point where I can't see it. I can tell you that the whole thing is pretty old, and I really love like the monochromatic look of the entire thing. Very nice. But besides that, the very last thing I want to talk about here is this lovely lady. This is a domestic house cat. This is a freeze-dried specimen here. And freeze-dried type things are cool because like the whole skeleton is in here, which I like that. If you look up like freeze-dried taxidermy, a lot of the examples that you'll find are of like pets, dogs and cats and stuff. I'm not really sure like when that was a thing that people did. I can tell you that this piece here is quite old. You can just tell by looking at it that this is, you know, it's been around for a while. And I suspect that the cat itself was actually pretty old too, before she passed. But absolutely gorgeous. She sits right here on this chair in front of the fireplace, hopefully enjoying her life. And with that, I feel mostly satisfied. I got to show you most of the new stuff that I wanted to. I'm sure I forgot something, but maybe I'll just do another one of these down the road. If everybody enjoys it, you know, I don't want to be doing this for myself. So if you do enjoy these videos, please let me know, because I love doing this. I love talking about this kind of stuff. That being said, the next one I make will be a record video. I've got some stuff to talk about there too, obviously. But thank you so much for sticking through it. Hopefully everybody enjoyed it. And one way or another, we'll be back soon. Later. I've been down to